What's happening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Break Thru U podcast, where we really focus in on breaking through our mindsets. The number one thing that usually keeps us back from achieving our goal or the mission is our mindset. And if we understand that we can do whatever we put our mind to do, and we have to bend our mind, and we got to bend it and make it do what we want. And so we are super excited. We got Ashley Gaylor and Alex Okagu, and the three of us, we host the Break Thru U podcast, and we are super excited to have Roy and Terry on with us. We met up with Roy and Terry a few weeks ago, maybe it was probably a month ago, over at the Casa. What was it? Yeah. Casa de Monte Cristo. That's it. That's it. And so Roy had reached out, and we had started connecting and just talking about getting on the podcast. And we met up at the cigar place and had just a great conversation. And we just left there like, man, Roy and Terry just, oh my goodness, just it's like we can go out there and conquer the world. And so we're super excited to have both of you on and to be able to have a conversation. A lot of great things going on. You got the Fit Expo coming up in 6 weeks. So Terry and I were just talking, so that's going to be really cool. The caliber of people that you're going to be having there, the names, super excited about that. But what I want to dive into is Roy and Terry, if you could introduce yourself to our audience and those that are going to be watching and listening. Introduce yourself, and then we can jump into some entrepreneurial conversations, and hopefully we can challenge some people here. And I heard sometimes it was that Les Brown said something, and I actually posted about it. It was he said, wannabes and used to bees don't make honey. And I thought that was an incredible saying. And then someone else said something. I was listening to something, and they were saying, how are you ever going to be good at anything if you start and stop, start and stop, start and stop? You're never going to be good at anything. And so I'm like, that's why you got to continue to push through, and you got to love the process. And everybody wants, the end result. Everyone's like, yes, I want to be like that, but they don't want to sleep in their car. They don't want to eat beans and rice. They don't want to do what it takes to get to that point. And so you got to embrace the pain, because there's a lot of pain that comes with that. I mean, Roy and Terry, you didn't get to where you're at just by sitting around and it just falls in your lap. They say the American dream is free; it's just not being passed out. So you gotta take it. So without any further ado, Roy and Terry, tell us about yourselves.
I'll let Roy go first.
I knew you was going to do that. Well, my name's Roy Mangrum. I founded Barbell Voodoo right at 9 years ago on a whim, on an accident. We've been in business ever since, doing shirts and knee sleeves and shorts and belts and all the stuff for the fitness world. And it's been awesome. It's been a creative outlet I didn't know I needed, and it's been it's funny how sometimes growing up, all these different little things that happen to you along the way, and you're like, man, why did that happen, or why did that happen? And then 20 years down the road, you're put in a situation where you start pulling on those lessons from 20 years ago, and you're like, man, I would have never learned this if I didn't go through that 20 years ago or whatever. So it's been one of the coolest experiences of my life. I've met some of the most amazing people, and Terry being one of them, of people that, if it wouldn't have been for this coming into my life, I wouldn't have known any of these people. I wouldn't have known any of you guys. So it's it's been a blessing. It's awesome, and I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah, man. I want to jump in to like I've been my name's Terry. I'm trying to get my thoughts here because I was listening to Roy. I get psyched.
I didn't say anything.
We were talking earlier today too. We have a good time. Yeah, my name's Terry, and I've been a personal trainer in Nashville for the better part of 16 years now. Done a lot of things from owning a gym to what I'm doing now, which is doing destination fitness retreats, and yeah, really come into the expo after really working with Ryan Freebing in the past on it, volunteering and helping him. And I, sat with him. Oh man, it's probably been 9 months ago. And said, yeah, I was like, yeah, what are you gonna do, man? What's going on? And how you feeling? We talked about the expo and passing the torch. And I asked if I could keep it going, and he said, by all means. Brought it to Roy, and boy, grass did not grow underneath his feet, and we were off to the races. Busy planning, making plans, and now it's kind of crazy to think that we're 6 weeks out. It's like Roy said, it's been a heck of a ride.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Hey, Josh, you're muted.
Josh.
There we go. So, so how did y'all meet, Roy and Terry?
I stalked Roy.
You stalked
These games. He was so nice. He was like, heck yeah, I'll sponsor you. I'll sponsor your event. I'll give you shirts at cost. And we're like, that's the best that anybody's ever done for us. So it's and I got to know, I learned a little bit more about Roy, like vicariously by watching what he was doing, watching what Barbell was doing, and how it was growing. And we really got to know each other through a couple of interviews that I did with him on my, I guess it was a vlog for my coaching business. And we sat down and we did a couple of videos, and we just had a ball. And I've been threatening to work with him ever since.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I wore him down.
Now we are at the Music City Fit Expo.
Right.
which is obviously morphed into a very collaborative opportunity. Can you guys tell us a little bit about what your inspiration was for deciding, okay, we networked, we came together, we're on the same page, a little bit different backgrounds in the same arena. Why don't we have an event, the event of the events for our specialization? What was the inspiration behind that?
Well, I mean, Terry kind of kicked it off, he noticed, and we had both been vendors at this expo every year. 2020, of course, didn't happen because of COVID. 2021, the gathering restrictions in government buildings were still, I think they were actually banned. You couldn't do it. So it just kind of fell to the wayside. And he reached out to Ryan Freebing, who kind of fostered this thing and started it. It was his vision. I think 16 or 17 the first year. 16.
I think it was 16. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2016 was the first year, and he's like, "Hey, man, do you mind if we pick it up and run with it?" He's like, "Go for it." And as soon as he mentioned it to me, I was like, "Hell yeah, let's go." It's just how important this event is. It's like anything, like in different businesses and different, walks of fitness, you have more in common than you don't,
That's true. Yeah.
So let's all get under the same roof and see what which each other have to offer, and just get that synergy going. So no, when he brought it to me, I was like, man, I can't wait. Let's start now. So
yeah,
I kind of like what you were saying too at our meeting about that, about the fact that all these different people come from different backgrounds, who are oftentimes may have some wariness of different programs, or there's just not much cross-pollination. And then by
Right.
the time you actually get together, you realize not only do you have a lot in common, but wow, what could actually morph out of this if we start blending these ideas? So as
Yeah,
you
and
guys have approached these people from different backgrounds, tell us a little bit about that.
that's always been my favorite thing about what Ryan was doing. And I've admittedly, I was one of those islands of fitness and being competitive and doing my own niche thing, and it was, you feel safe in your box in your gym to do your thing. But Ryan really broke down those walls in a way that I thought was, it honestly kind of made me feel a little embarrassed that I hadn't thought of it first. Like, this is such a good idea. Why are we acting so standoffish? And I don't know that he set out to do that or not, but the end result was that we all got together and realized, like Roy said, that we had more in common than we didn't, and we really all want to build something for the community, within the fitness industry. And you really, through that, I would say through the expos over the years, I've been able to coach and mentor other trainers because they've seen me at these other events. And Ryan has talked up what I do, and I'm able to meet with other people and learn from other people like Roy, because of Ryan. Like, it's kind of crazy when you think about how before all of this that we were all just independent islands of competition, just all competing against each other. And then when you had this expo, and Ryan did a whole bunch of other things too, a whole bunch of other events, when he brought everybody together, how fulfilling that was. And then there's such a big difference when COVID hit, and it's like a freaking ghost town around here. So bringing it back was just, it meant a lot to me, and I knew it would mean a lot to Roy. So
Excellent.
So
what's
it looks like we've got some different competitions going on inside of the Fit Expo as well. Like, if people aren't familiar with the Battle of the Boxes, that's a pretty anybody that's interested in fitness or is ever who doesn't know what a box is, why don't you touch on that and tell them just what kind of athletes do this and how amazing it is to watch what people can accomplish doing this type of type of event.
Yeah,
right
so boxes or CrossFit gyms are commonly referred to as boxes, and because it's a 4-wall building. That's pretty much all you have to kind of get started and get a rig and some barbells, and you're off and running. But Battle of the
voodoo?
Boxes, yeah. So Battle of the Boxes really just, it came about an idea from a local gym owner who was like, hey, what if we just put all the gyms winner take all, right? So any gym can throw in their best 8 athletes, 4 scaled, which means like kind of your beginner or intermediate athletes, and then 4 RX, which would be like your elite level CrossFitters. Put those 8 on a team, combine that score, and whatever gym has the best score at the end, they win all the prizes. It's winner take all. So I know they've already collected, several $1,000s worth of gift cards to different equipment manufacturers and clothing manufacturers and things like that. So it's not like it's a prize of here's a free t-shirt and some coupons. It's not that. It's literally thousands of dollars worth of gift cards to some of these big businesses. So that's exciting. We've got the strongman competition, which is huge. Calisthenics games, which Terry has been putting on for years. And then, like all the stuff you're scrolling through right now, we have a separate room that's 27,000 square feet. And every hour and 15 minutes, there's a different group fitness class. You can come in and do Nick Carrier's class here. You can do Danny D's class. You can take a yoga class. There's a country's you name it, it's there. It's gonna be pretty epic.
Here, check
So
this out.
people can come in, check out all your booths, all your vendors, and actually come in there and get workout all day long if they want to as well. So they can do it all. That's it. That's
yeah,
exciting.
you can be there. You can be there the whole day, and if you a lot of these expos and stuff you go to, you're there 30 minutes. You've seen everything. It's over. You've done everything you do. Here, you can be here 6 hours. You still didn't see it all.
Yeah,
for sure.
Wow.
New things coming up around the next hour, and I think that's what's making this thing super unique. That's what's got everybody excited. It's more of a spectacle than a fitness flea market or something like that. So
I was going to ask you, do you have any kind of media coverage that you guys are going to be doing, either streaming or anything like that people can tap into if they're not on site?
There's some live podcasting that will be going on. There will not be streaming. If you want to experience it, you got to be there.
You got it.
But there will be a bazillion pictures and videos and stuff afterwards that we'll be putting out as we talk about, the following year, 2023.
Excellent.
Well, I can tell you for one that I will be over there. I will partake in it all, and somebody, might be careful about stepping off the curb when I leave. My legs might give out, but it's okay because I'm looking forward to it. So.
That's right.
Ashley's proud about wearing them mismatched socks.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about entrepreneurship. So as we were talking, a lot of people give up. They have an idea, they have a dream, they have something that they're like, you know what, I'm going to start, but then they give up on it. And what do you think makes that difference, Terry and Roy, between someone starting something and following through and actually creating something versus someone starting something and then giving up because it's too hard?
Passion. I think it comes straight down to passion. Like if you're a lot of people like the idea of working for themselves, like the idea of being in control, being their own boss. Yet they don't have the vision, or they're not head over heels about their own idea. So I think that starts and stops a lot of people. You also have on the other end where it's all passion, it's all big picture, and there's they take a step and then they regress. They take a step and then they regress because they're terrified. So you get both things there. You don't really know when you've got that big picture out ahead of you and you're trying to move toward it. It's small action steps day to day is the key to succeeding when it comes to that point, right? Something to get you over the fear and keep you moving in the right direction. Those are the two things that I see. I don't know, Roy, I don't know how you would echo or jump off of that.
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, for me, I think in the very beginning, I was just stubborn. I was not going to fail, just regardless, period. Just personally, me going through things, how I was raised and things I went through growing up. This was kind of like my flag in the sand, F it, I'm going all in, blaze of glory, put it all in black, see what happens,
So you just burnt the ships. You're like, there's no ship to go back to.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to be stubborn. Terry can tell you, your first 3 years just suck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'll have, and I tell, young entrepreneurs, I'm like, you're going to feel like you're bipolar because you're going to have
That is true.
highs, lows of lows, and they will come daily. And it's not like, you're going to see them both multiple times a day. I was telling Terry this morning, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm putting out fires. It is what it is. But then, something comes along later in the day, you're like, okay, here we go. Back on the upswing, looking for the positives. but it's, you just have to go, man. You can't, as my dad would say, you can't be half pregnant. You're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. Go for it. And we see a lot of entrepreneurs that, they love to talk about being an entrepreneur, and that's where it stops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because being on the outside, you're looking at these people, you're like, man, they got so much potential. Why don't they just go?
Yeah.
Stop talking. Nobody gives a shit what you're talking about. Action.
Right.
That's true.
Just go.
A lot of times they don't have something that's forcing them, like they're something to put your own back up against the wall, like Roy says, you're going for broke, right? Like you're backing up against the wall, whether by you putting it there or by some circumstance in your life, putting you there. It's harder to move forward. I mean, it really is.
And that's that mindset where you get backed behind a wall, you're back to a wall, and you either fall victim of the circumstance or like Roy was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm coming out swinging. And you're just like swinging, and you're like, you may go under for a little bit and you come back up swinging. And I think a lot of that as an entrepreneur in the first like 3 years, 5 years, all that energy that you're just putting in there, like I refuse, and you're seeing other businesses drowning, and you're seeing people just giving up, and you're just like, I'm not gonna give up. Like I'm gonna keep my eyes on the prize and keep my eyes on the goal. I'm gonna continue to do it. Even Ashley's, I love Ashley's videos when he's going to Planet Fitness. He's like, I wasn't gonna do it. I didn't feel like it, but I did it, and it's just like, you gotta kick yourself in the butt a lot of times. But I think once you get to that, what those actions turn into like behaviors, and the behaviors are something that you just automatically, it's like an instinct. You get up, you tie your shoes, you get dressed, you brush your teeth, like behaviors that you set in place. You have those entrepreneurial behaviors that it's just on the go, and networking and connecting, and just and you don't often see it. It's like planting a seed. You don't see a lot of process maybe, but over time you look back, you're like, wow, I've come a long way, but there's still a lot more to go. And I think when you get to a point, you still have to have the same fight that you had when you first started.
Yeah, you do. It's just you direct it differently. Your focus is fortunately you're able to focus on bigger pictures. Like what Terry was saying in the beginning. If I start a business today, right? I've never started a business. I'm like, I'm going to make $1 million this year. Well, that's hard, But what you learn along the way, so like, when we first started, I was like, man, I want to make $100,000 this year selling T-shirts. That was a lofty goal. Then first year we fell short. And I'm like, all right, next year 125, right? So I still bumped it up, even though we fell short. Next year we beat that goal. So then, but it's kind of like those learned behaviors. Okay, well, all these things work to got me to this. All right, let me 5x that to get to 300, to get to $500,000. Then years down the road, like, okay, I can say $1 million a year. That's realistic now. But the problem is when you first start a business, it's great to say I want to make $1 million in a year, but you have to have those $100,000, $50,000, $10,000 a month. You have to have all these little goals. Okay, well, great. Having a goal is great. How are you going to do it? And that's the problem most young entrepreneurs don't have. They're like, I'm going to make $1 million. Dude, badass. How are you going to do it? Tell me 5 things you're doing a day. Well, I'm going to get on Instagram. Wonderful. But you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And as you've had your business many years, then you're able to, like I said, take things that's work elevate those. Things that don't work, toss them in the trash. It just makes you more efficient.
I'll say too that it looks like you had to assess your stuff, so to speak. A lot of people think that, oh, I want to make $1 million. Oh, he opened a gym. Well, I can do that. He made $1 million in his second year. I can do that too. No problem.
Oh yeah.
No passion, no nothing. They go out and they start their gym. There's a for lease sign the following year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't assess what you got first, which it seems like obviously that's you guys' approach, assessed where you were as a person, out of that came the passion to pursue it even through the what seems like the dark days, and then you start trending upward. It takes people that path who have passion to make that trend. Find something you're passionate about instead of thinking that you're going to be able to ride those ebbs and flows and up and down off someone else's passion or idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love when people ask me, well, what about so-and-so? Why can't this person go and do that? Because they're not me. They're not passionate first and foremost about what I'm doing. I'm not worried about somebody coming along and taking my idea. I'm pursuing my idea out of passion. Many people have tried to take other people's ideas. Somebody could try to start up another fitness expo, but do they have the stuff that you guys have to have 100 vendors come in and do all these different things and this vision and whatnot? And the answer is no. That's uniquely you guys that came up with that.
Yeah. When we talk about passion, I think it's important to illustrate it a little bit more. Like for me, coming to Nashville I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I came down here in 2009. I had no money. I had a wife, a kid, and one on the way. And we started this business on food stamps and unemployment. We started personal training. We're like, all right, well, we're going to get a government assistance first. And we're going to have this government assistance for this amount of time. That is our startup time. And we did everything in order to make that happen. So by the time that government assistance ran out, we were moving. We actually had some income coming in. And it's like Roy said though too, there was those low times, right? Like when you're like, oh crap, you're pinching pennies again. I remember going and painting a house or cutting down a tree for a client. Like that's the passion. That's the thing that keeps it moving forward, right? Your willingness to do whatever it takes to push the vision.
It's the correlation between being an entrepreneur and fitness is the same to me, right? You got to have that drive. You got to have the passion. Just same way with your fitness, right? You get up every day. Like I say, some days you don't want to do it, but you make yourself go do it, right? Because you see the end result. Same way with your business. You don't want to deal with the stuff that you have to deal with every day. Not every day, right? Sometimes you're like, I'm gonna have a good day. Hey, you can be like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it today. I'm just going to let it go. You could very well do that, but you can't let yourself do that because you've got the end in mind, right? You know what's coming up. You know where you're trying to go. So, you just got to get it done.
I like that. I don't feel like it, right? Because what I say to my young entrepreneurs is, what on earth does your feelings have to do with anything?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Zoom out and look at it from logic too. It's not all touchy feely. We have to examine it outside of the scope of our emotions.
Yeah, 100%.
Out of it. Yeah.
So Roy, you started t-shirt business, right? Your first business?
Well, this is the first one that worked.
Ha! That is so true. That is so true. Yes.
I had all kinds of harebrained ideas growing up. But yeah, and this wasn't supposed to be the business. This was never, I didn't plan for it to be a business. That wasn't the idea. It just kind of happened. And then once it happened, it was like, oh, well, we're on to something. Let's see where it goes. And that was that. That's how it started.
Wasn't your, I believe that you wanted and they didn't have the one you wanted. So you're like, hey, I'm just going to make one. And the guy was like, t-shirt, can you make more? Is that something like that?
Yeah, he's like, I don't have your size. here's my logo. You can just print your own shirt. All right, cool. I printed my own shirt. And I was like, man, your shirts are they're kind of lame. Let me do a design. He's like, yeah, whatever. So I had the money, or I had come up with a design. I talked about it for probably, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, maybe a month. And guy at the gym that I always worked out with, we just always ended up in the same on the same squat rack every squat day. And he's like, man, are you gonna print those shirts or not? All you do is talk. And I was like, yeah. You know, you call me out. I got it. He's like, how much is it gonna cost to print those shirts? I'm like, I don't know, man, like $250 probably. He showed up at my house that afternoon, probably 2 hours after we left the gym, handed me $125, said, here you go, print those shirts, we're business partners. I was like, oh, okay, well, shit, somebody just called me out. So we did the shirts, took them to the gym, sold them out, and I was like, oh, okay, we're on to something. And that's legitimately how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do. I love that story.
Yeah.
Ever since I was like, you know, and I've actually shared that with people, like, you know, sometimes, you know, we try, maybe like you just said, that succeeded, you know, stuck, you know, but bam, it just happened out of nowhere. So
what would y'all say is the
least back in the entrepreneur?
Yeah.
What would y'all say the top maybe 2, maybe 3 things are that really have an impact for a young entrepreneur trying to build their brand?
Terry,
Well, I say that's a good question. When you say brand, do you mean just their business as a whole?
Their business as a whole, or just getting the word out there and building their business?
I think you need 2 things. I feel like there's just a theme with me with 2 things, but 2 things. One is you need a coach. Like, you need someone in your corner, mentor, coach, somebody that you trust that is not a yes man, that will, you know, shoot you straight with it first. The other part of that is I used to tell my trainers this, like, get swole, go to parties, work out, and then go network. When you go to network, what's the, you know, what happens when you shake someone's hand? Hey, I'm so and so. Oh yeah, what do you do? Oh, I'm a personal trainer, right? Like, network, get to know people, make friends. It's all about relationships and building relationships. You never know when you're going to end up working with that person, working for that person. And that's that's the story that I have with Roy for sure. It's like, it's through the network. It's through building that network that you made that connection that you didn't know it was going to come out of it until now. So I think those are 2 really important things.
Would y'all agree? I heard it say that when you could say sales pressure or just pressure on yourself to grow your business, or I got to get my business off the ground. When relationships are high, then that sales pressure is low. And when the sales pressure is high, relationships are low. And, you know, like we met with y'all at Casa de Monte Cristo, and networking, especially Ashley. I mean, Ashley does a lot of networking. It's like you have to continue to be out there and network. But I think people sometimes as well, they can network all day long and not grow their business or not get anything. It's like they're missing the connection, and it's like they'll go and then they'll leave, or they'll go meet people and then they walk away with 0 business or 0 connections. And it's like, why did you even go out there? Why do you think people have that problem? Because there's quite a few people that you can go to a networking event, they'll leave, they'll have no business, but they were there. Why do you think they walk away without any business or without any contacts?
They're not unique or authentic.
Tell us more about that, Roy.
I love it.
A lot of people go to events like that and they try to be the chameleon, right? However, whatever your language is, whatever your vibe you're giving, I try to match that, right? And that's okay to an extent for building rapport. However, if you're not uniquely you and who you are, that's what people buy anyway. They're not buying, from Terry, they're not buying his personal training. They can get that from anybody. They buy
100%.
Terry, So if Terry's not uniquely Terry, it's like all right, I'm going to pick on Terry. If Terry shaved off his beard, right? Covered up his tattoos, and then tried to act like everyone else he's around. Well, now Terry's just another personal trainer. He's not unique. He's not Terry. So be who you are. Be authentic. Be unique. That's what people gravitate toward because they buy you. They don't buy the product.
That is true.
I mean, that's why people use influencers. They're not, if the product was the end all be all, then nobody would need influencers, would they? They use influencers because they're trying to get, oh, I love Brooke Wells. She wears no bull. I will wear no bull. You see what I'm saying? Yep. They're buying the person.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I think I see. I guess you have to respect. You have to respect somebody that is out there and that is just going for it. They're starting a business and they are learning how to network or how to grow their business from, and especially nowadays. I mean the where we're living. I mean, we got these things right here. I mean, finding a mentor, finding a coach, but also YouTube videos, and there's so many different, so many resources out there that can help you. But let me ask you this. I was going to ask you, Roy and Terry. So let's say that someone wants a mentor, and let's say question number one, how do they find a mentor? Number two, what if the mentor that they're looking for or wanting maybe doesn't give them the time of day? Like how do you encourage someone to like find a mentor and to like grasp onto or connect to the mentor that they want?
Yeah, I'll go first, I guess. I would say that it's a trial and error, but if you do it that way, if you're trying to, my favorite thing to do is just to tell people to surround themselves with people smarter than them. That's how you do it in an organic way. That's not necessarily like, hey, I'm going to go buy a coach, because there are those coaches out there, and those coaches do a really good job. Most of them really do. There is that way of doing it, but I've been of the thinking of surrounding myself with that very unique, group of people that are smarter than me. They're a little bit older, have a little bit more business or life experience, and just try to absorb all of that I can. I think that's how you do it, and you kind of escape the cost if you can't afford it.
They should have got you as Thor here. They missed out on Thor right there.
It's super distracting looking at myself scrolling up and down.
He'll be in the next one, don't worry.
Yeah. That's funny.
No, I think you're right. Having a mentor is so vital, because we even take it with Ashley and Alex and myself. We'll have hours of conversations throughout the week and just talking to each other and sharpening our skill set. And you're absolutely right. I believe that you can either outgrow someone, and you can, maybe they're the right. We had someone on our podcast, Greg Fisk, and he was talking about, and we were talking about that, these might not be your people, and then these might be your people, but then Alex was saying, these might be your people, but they don't know they're your people right right now. And so, you know, the people that you hang around, you're absolutely right. People that are going to challenge you and help you. If somebody, how do you get around people that have the same mindset as you? Maybe it's a change that they're starting to change, and maybe they're starting to change their mindset. They're starting to change their behaviors, and they're like, you know what? The friends that I have or the people that I have around me are holding me back. Like, how do you start getting around people that are going to challenge you?
I think it's a different thing there. It's like you really want to be like specifically around people that challenge you. Like I have been around people that I don't know that I necessarily would like to hang out with, but you know, a client here or there over the course of my career. Like, this person's pretty tough to get along with, but I'm listening to how they made, how they made their business, or how they became successful, how they bought and sold this thing, and how I've got a guy who created artificial intelligence and eventually sold it. Like, I'm like, how does this guy make this idea in college? Like, and I'm just learning and pulling from all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's less about surrounding yourself with people that maybe will help or encourage you, who even care about what you're doing. It's more about, what they're doing. Does it challenge your way of thinking?
So what's the dynamics between you, Terry, and Roy? Y'all are business partners.
I'm the eternal optimist.
Oh,
So how does this work?
I am the pessimist. I like to think of every shit solution to every shit problem. That way I'm not surprised when something goes wrong. I already know the answer. Maybe it's wasted energy. I don't know.
I love that. Because that is exactly what I do. I'm that of our group too. So
I'm telling you, if I know I've got to have an uncomfortable conversation with somebody, I've already had that conversation 5 times before I have that conversation.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think of, all right, what's their objection to this? Oh, it's going to be this. Okay. Well, how do I overcome that objection? Well, here's the way. Well, what would be their objection to that? Well, they may say this. Okay. That's just how my brain operates.
Yeah.
24/7. So yeah. Terry's like, oh, everything's great. And I'm like, Terry, this could be a problem,
That being said, I don't want to partner with somebody like me. I don't need another optimist. Like,
yeah.
I can pull all the rainbows and butterflies out of the sky that I want. I don't need help. If I do that though, like if I partner with that yes person that's very similar to me, we're probably going to go down in a ball of fire. I need someone like Roy to paint the picture with colors that I don't see. And I think it's a lot to do with our agent business experience though too, that where it works really well. I trust Roy's decisions, and I think I can speak with confidence that he does trust mine as well. But he will tell me that might be too much.
Well, but the flip side of that though is too, again, we're talking about being an entrepreneur. There's, I've been doing this for a long time, and there's still every single day or every single week, there's ebbs and flows, highs and lows, right? So somebody that's very optimistic can help me stay motivated in times when I'm like, this isn't going the way I want it to go. You know what I mean? So it is awesome to have that kind of business partner that does that. And, in Barbell Voodoo, Jeremy is that for me as well. We have that exact same dynamic that me and Terry have,
Yeah.
He tells me very unrealistic things at times, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But it's good because it keeps you more level, more even keel at times when you could focus on some of the negative things that are going on that you're having to deal with. And they can be like, yeah, but look how far you've come, you know, and look where we're at today. Yeah, this situation may not be, you know, optimal, but could be a lot worse, you know. So
I love when something like when Roy is excited, you know it's authentic. Like that's how, like, when the very good example is the day we went and looked at the building, and I was like, let's rent the whole thing, let's do the whole thing. And Roy's like, well, maybe we should start with, you know, a third of the thing. I'm like, that's probably smarter. And by the time, you know, he got home, we got home, and he was like, okay, let's do, you know, what did we end up doing? Two-thirds as opposed to, yeah.
Instead of 100,000 square feet, we did 70. But
yeah,
originally I was like, man, 30,000 square feet is about all we need.
mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and so then when Roy got excited about it, I was like, okay, now I believe it. You know, it's authentic. It doesn't feel like someone who's trying to make me feel better and make me feel safe. Again, I don't need that. I'm a crazy risk taker.
which for me goes back to our talking about emotions. Keep your feelings out of it. You know, for me, I try to not get too excited or too bummed, you know, about any of it. You know, sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't, but you know, just try to be very logical and think all these things through. So
let me ask y'all something else. So entrepreneurs, there's a lot of time goes into it, and a lot of entrepreneurs, their relationships suffer. Maybe it's their family, their spouse, their kids, because they're so busy. How do you all keep that? And I don't know if it's a balance, because I've heard some people are like, when you're an entrepreneur, or there's really no work-life balance because you're all in. But how do you take that time for your kids, for your spouse, for like when you just shut stuff down to say, you know what, this is my time? How do y'all balance that? If I could say that, ask that question.
Well, I mean, for me, I would say I'm fortunate. I don't know if that's the right word, but so my wife is a school teacher, and she's also the athletic trainer at the school. So she puts in a crap ton of hours, right? So, you know, 6:30 in the morning, she leaves for school. And tonight, you know, tonight will be early night. She'll be home like 8. Yeah, that's early for her. But some nights it's 10. So me, and it's probably unhealthy. I know I probably annoy Terry, but I just work all the time. You know, I work till about 11 o'clock every night. It's just, why not? That's,
yeah.
You know, cut the hay while it's tall, right? So, you know, and I enjoy it. I love it. So I don't have a balance. I know that's terrible to say.
No, you do. You were telling me the other day that you slowed down a little bit in the summer.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I take some vacations, but you know, like you know, if she's off on Sunday, you know, we pretty much stay off the computers, and you know, we may check a little email here or there, but you know, go to lunch, go to church, do all that, you know, kind of hang out together, because that's about, you know, what time we do have. And then otherwise, you know, if she's not here, then I'm working. I want to be productive.
Yeah, for me, it's you know, Roy and I had this conversation in the beginning, because it's a different dynamic, because I've got 4 kids. I have 4 kids. 3 of them are adults. One of them is expecting my first grandchild. So and I do work everything all of my businesses, my wife works with me in them, and I'm so thankful that she does, because she keeps me from missing very important things. So we start early. Her and I have our time together before the kids get up. So it's from 4:30 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's her and I's time. And then from there, 6 a.m. ends up, like, she goes her way, I go my way. We circle back, we work together a little bit, and we shut it down around dinner time, which is almost always 5:30, 6 o'clock. And we'll do a little bit of work here and there on the weekends as needed. And Roy knows that I break my own rules sometimes, but that's the balance that we try to have. I try to continue to have family dinner every night. That's an important thing. And I'm surprised.
So you have that routine. So you have that. It's like every night we know, come hell or high water, we're going to have dinner every night at the same time.
Yeah, make it or not. Like, it's like, if you're here, you're here. It's great. If not, maybe tomorrow night.
Yeah. How do y'all, I ask people this question. What do you do to pour into yourself to like continue to self-develop? Is there like favorite books that you read, certain genres of books, or is there like podcasts, YouTube videos? What do y'all do to pour into yourself?
Yes, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading this. Oh, you can't see it.
There it is.
I was reading that before you called or Zoomed.
What's the name of that book?
Scaling Up.
Scaling Up.
It's the Rockefeller Habits 2.0. It's pretty awesome. Just started that. You can't see behind me, but there is 3 bookcases full of books. And they're all either fitness related or business related. There is no recreational reading.
Same here.
So, and podcasts today.
So what's your favorite podcast?
Well, okay. I have a very, this one is not business related. It's kind of a guilty pleasure, but it's called Something to Wrestle With. It's a wrestling podcast. It's very funny.
I love it.
It's very funny. That's my guilty pleasure podcast.
NWO.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, brother. Oh, yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Back in the heyday, we used to have raw parties at my dad's house, and everybody would make signs in the living room and stuff, and people would come over and we'd make our signs and go around the room. And whoever made the best sign of that day won whatever it was for that day, right? It could be it could be a new lighter, it could be a pizza or whatever we come up with. But it was that was fun.
I love it.
Hey, Terry, how about yourself? What do you do to pour into yourself?
So definitely reading. Reading is really important. And I don't do it as much as I want to, but I'll do, like, my wife and I go on vacation. If it's just her and I will use that time to completely read through a book that I've been wanting to read. And so I love that. Podcast, though, one of my favorite podcasts is called How We Built This. With Guy Raz. Yeah, I love it. I love hearing the stories of other entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
It really it gets me pumped up. So those are the 2 things that I love.
How important do y'all think it is to be an expert at your industry? Especially, I think that certain industries, if you step out of that industry for any certain period of time, when you get back in, you're lost. And so being an entrepreneur in your industry, how important is it to continue on a daily basis to sharpen your skill sets and to be on top of what's going on? Because tomorrow you maybe get left in the dust if you're not on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely important. I don't know that you're ever an expert, just especially, with the apparel industry as fast as things change and all of that. But you 100% have to be on top of it. You take, your eye off the ball for a week or two, and you legitimately see that you're playing catch up. So yeah, it's extremely important, and it's not just like losing touch of the industry itself, but your business as a whole. If you don't have your finger on the pulse, there could be stuff going on. You have no idea what's going on. So you really got to keep your nose in there at all times.
Mm-hmm.
How have y'all seen the fitness industry change just in the last 5 years?
Oh, that's a good question.
Technology, like, has the fitness industry always kind of been like bell bars or weights and just that, or do you see the more sophisticated, more cutting edge?
I remember even considering when CrossFit first came out. I remember considering getting certified in CrossFit. Like this thing got. I remember that thing got popular pretty quick. Now it is. A lot of it is technology driven. I mean, I've got clients that they train with me, but they also, I just about every one of them has a Peloton. And they're staying connected in that way. A few of them have the mirror. So it does feel very technology driven. What I love though, the biggest trend that I have seen is nutrition. Because I've been a student of nutrition for 18 years now, and the more you know, the more you don't know. But there's so many more things available as far as high quality supplements, and as you could find farm first. You can find grass fed food at grass fed beef at Kroger, and you can find probiotics at GNC. Like when I first started, you couldn't get that crap. I was trying to tell everybody to get that stuff. So I love seeing that trend change too.
Do you think go for it, Roy?
I'm just going to add home gyms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That become like when COVID happened, if you own a equipment company, you made some cash.
For sure.
So that, and I think Terry was kind of ahead of the curve there with Traino on demand.
Yeah.
So many, gyms were closed. You couldn't go in a gym. You couldn't go in a CrossFit gym. You couldn't go to a personal training studio unless they owned it. And even then, certain states, that stuff was shut down. So you had to go virtual. And it's pretty cool because instead of seeing one client at a time, you could see however many you could fit on a Zoom call. And I don't have to drive across town to see this client, or they don't have to drive across town to see me. Fire up the old laptop and there you go. So those are big things.
Let me ask you this. I know our time is winding down, but with the increase of the cutting edge technology, like you said, the Peloton, and you got those trainers that are there, and you have trainers that are virtual. Where do you see still the space for the good old personal trainers for individuals? Or do you see maybe down as technology increases that maybe people tend to just do the Peloton or do other using equipment that has virtual trainers?
I honestly have already seen the upswing back to personal training. So
okay.
It's cool to watch people come back around. It honestly surprised me because I thought and maybe this will change in the future with the development of AI, but right now people just need people, and that's really cool.
And that is so true. Like relationships, we're talking relationships. Like a machine can never take the place of a relationship.
Yeah, 100%. I got on a phone. I was on the virtual session with a client in Florida today, and she's going through a rough patch in her relationships. And we sat on Zoom or on FaceTime, and we talked for 30 minutes. she just needed to vent before we ever started working out. Like, you can't replace that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you're never really gonna, the robots won't take our jobs.
That's true.
I can attest from someone who loves is into their fitness and believes in working out, training every day, getting my movement in, that even when I have stuff at home, I do not do as good of a job if I go to my gym and get my workout.
Yeah.
It's just something about, I don't know if it's mindset, or I'm sure it has a lot to do with mindset, but even at home, I can't get the workout I can get at the gym, and I'm just not as satisfied. And that's just me. So I know that there's other people like me. So that's just my thought, on it.
It's accountability, even to the people you don't know.
Yeah.
If you walk in a gym, you don't want to turn around and walk out when you don't want to, because you're like, man, they saw me walk in here.
Yeah.
Let me just start working out, So people love that person-to-person accountability.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So with it, what was one piece of advice that you would give to an entrepreneur starting out, feeling discouraged, maybe wanting to throw in the towel? What's your number one biggest piece of advice you give to someone starting their business?
That is a valid feeling. You're going to feel that regardless if you're year 1 or year 10. You're still going to have days where you want to throw in the towel. It just is. It's not easy. The biggest thing is to, have a good plan. Have your goals. Have a good plan how to achieve those goals. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. And just go for it. Put your head down for 3 years and just work as hard as you can. If you think you've worked hard enough, work harder. You're probably wrong. I think the first 3 years we were in business, I probably lost $20,000, didn't make a penny, and probably out of 365 days a year, I worked 330. The first 3 years, but it was worth every bit of it.
That's it right there.
Yep.
And I would echo all of those things and say, just don't stop moving.
Yeah.
Don't sit down on it. Just keep moving.
Is that your merch behind you, Terry?
Yeah, it's like if I knew I was on video, I'd have probably put pants on the mannequin.
Oh man!
Don't worry about that right there.
There you go. This podcast is going to get that explicit rating.
Yeah.
Nudity.
I'll do what I can.
Oh man! So how did you come up with your merch, Terry?
That's
a whole nother podcast, but
it almost is, and I'll be really. What I'll do is I'll try to be as quick with it as I can. I come up with it. It was actually the old motto of the gym, and it was density over vanity. Like, what is inside your strength, who you are as a person, is more important than your mere reflection. And that's what ended up. I simplified it. I turned it into Kill Vanity, and that was antagonized a lot of people, and I loved it. So I turned it into a clothing line because people have a hard time understanding why vanity can take you to the point of not being happy. Because you're always chasing your mirror image, which is only 10% of who you are, and you're never happy with that mirror image, even when you get fit or you get thin. You're not, if you don't reconcile what's going on inside you, you don't appreciate your character for what it is, if you don't know who you are, your vanity is not going to bring you happiness.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
So,
well, y'all, it was incredible taking the time to just have a good conversation. I mean, this is like all we're missing is being at Casa de Monte Cristo.
A cigar.
But-
We're missing a cigar.
A couple of bourbons around here somewhere.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, so as we close out, Ashley, Alex, any closing thoughts?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Excited to see how your fitness expo comes together and how there are many more to come out of this and kind of opening minds to new possibilities around here. So I think it's fantastic. And I'm looking forward to seeing great things out of you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no, I just love that we know you guys. Look forward to networking with you guys in the future on many things, and definitely looking forward to the Fit Expo. I can't wait to get there and participate in everything that's going on, and look, just really looking forward to that, because I think that this is going to be the biggest thing that's hit Music City in quite a while. So
Let's go.
And congrats to you guys for getting it and putting it on and putting everything you have into it. And I know that it's going to show when everybody shows up and sees everything that they're able to get done there. So it's very impressive, very impressive.
Thanks, man. We're
Appreciate that.
excited.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna say that every time I talk to y'all, it's just like iron sharpens iron, just the challenge. It's something when you're able to talk to other entrepreneurs or just people that are on that same level in that mindset, that you just walk away saying, man, you felt like you went to church, right? It's like you went to church and you're walking away and you're just like, man, that was good. Oh, I'm full on some good, valuable conversation. And so, Roy and Terry, thank you again for dropping by and being our special guest on the Break Thru U podcast. And I know we will be visiting the Casa de Monte Cristo pretty soon.
Let's go.
And let's definitely do that. So for those of you listening, for those of you watching, you can go to Facebook, Instagram. What other social media platforms are y'all on where people can register for the Music City Fit
Music City
Expo?
Music City Fit Expo on Facebook and Instagram. No TikTok yet. Of course, we can talk Terry dancing, then we'll get a TikTok.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. Like I said, it was a pleasure to have y'all on. Really got some value, a lot of value out of this. And we will definitely meet up at Casa de Monte Cristo and have some more good conversations. Remember, if you're listening and you're watching, remember, surround yourself with people that are of like mind, people that are going to challenge you. Never be afraid to ask a question, even if you think it's dumb. Success leaves clues. Look for people that are doing what you want to do and ask them, study them. Always pour into yourself, podcasts, YouTube videos, reading books. You got to be an expert on your craft. You got, not, like we said, not an expert, but you got to stay up to date with what's going on. And so with all of that, from the Break Thru U podcast, thank y'all so much for listening and watching. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and we shall talk to you soon.